Is this thing on? In the next series, over the next couple months, the non book review videos will be more stream of consciousness instead of sort of this particular point needs to be made in this particular video. Um, so, going forward, they may not seem as maybe coherent or comprehensive, um, but they are still building towards the overall project. This video kicks off our next series, motivation. Why am I doing motivation as a follow-up to desire? Well, motivation is the psychological conditions that allow us to achieve our desires. Without motivation, we often find ourselves in circumstances where we're not doing the things necessary in order to achieve our desires. And this is relevant if you are looking at whatever desire that you may have, whether it be more social or less social. You need a cognitive infrastructure in order to be able to complete the mission, in order to be able to do it. In the military, we have something called the road to mental readiness. And I like to sort of frame the road to mental readiness as a mechanic of motivation. So, what is the road to mental readiness in the Canadian Armed Forces? Other militaries are also sort of implementing such sort of behavior shaping tools for soldiers to be able to perform in high austere environments, high stress, high intensity environments that all military members, regardless of nation, have to go through. And so, from the Canadian Armed Forces perspective, it's mostly public record. There are sort of 4 strategies that soldiers are trained on: tactical breathing, positive self-talk, visualization, and what's the last one of the mindfulness. Those are the forms of the road to mental readiness: tactical breathing, mindfulness, positive self-talk, and visualization. What do they mean? So, tactical breathing is a form of breathing that you use primarily your diaphragm for storing and exhaling oxygen. You push it past your lungs into your diaphragm, and therefore it's an effective tool to regulate your breathing and regulate your heart rate. Because if you're breathing heavier, it's putting more effort on your heart to pump the blood to help you continue to consume larger amounts of oxygen. So, tactical breathing, which is a tool in many sort of circumstances, whether it be on the range or in a sniper situation, but also any situation where you think your stress levels might increase. Tactical breathing is a wonderful tool. It's a mechanic of keeping yourself motivated in the moment. And then regarding positive self-talk, it's fundamental for not catastrophizing any negative circumstance that you encounter. And when you're in training in the military, there's going to be times where you don't succeed in what you want to accomplish. The thing is that don't beat yourself up for it, because there's going to be immediate new opportunities to continue to perform. And visualization is sort of a cognitive tool. Not everyone possesses the tool of visualization, where you're sort of imagining yourself in a specific circumstance and you're pretending in your imagination to be completing the task during that circumstance. Not everyone has it, because it requires a highly visual imagination, and not everyone has that form of imagination. And lastly, mindfulness. It's similar to positive self-talk, but where it differs is sort of meditation and being present in the moment. And so it's more focused on what you're doing now as opposed to what has happened before. But in times of like sort of you have to rely in your impulses and your instincts, mindfulness is not always the best path to go down, because it can sometimes lead to inaction. So why do I think sort of the road to mental readiness is a key mechanic of motivation? Why I think it is because sort of to get to what motivation is, sort of our sort of cognitive framework for tackling and achieving our desires. Highly motivated individuals tend to be more successful because they are more persistent, because they are more willing to put more time and energy into a particular project than others. And one form of motivation is sort of a negative motivation, where you're saying somebody else is eventually going to do it, so it might as well be me. Doing things in order to just sort of climb a form of social ladder. So the road to mental readiness is a key mechanic of motivation, because if you are practicing the steps and the circumstances on a regular basis, then it's going to lead to a willingness and a desire to complete a task, a motivation to achieve whatever the circumstances may be. And in the military, it's often sort of a potentially dangerous situation, but it doesn't always have to be. It doesn't always have to be dangerous, but military, the purpose of military is war by other means, which is policy by other means, and sort of violence is the political solution when military is used. But even in the military, violence is meant to be controlled. It's meant to be sort of only for particular subjects, only in certain circumstances, and then there's such as things as war crimes, where it's sort of behavior that's deviant from sort of the general framework of what can be a normative violent behavior in the process of war. But the thing is that there's no one really who tries war crimes, so it's really just a term for just a moral statement than anything else. But in terms of like the mechanics of motivation overall, they are things that you can sort of conjure as to things that can maintain motivation, things that you can think about and say, this is worth going after this task, completing this task to achieve desire X. Yeah, it's my abstract thinking is going to get sort of algebraic as time goes on. Anyways, these are just my thoughts. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.